Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. After a summer of protest and counter-protest at the Bloomington Farmers Market, there are new rules of behavior.
Content-based restrictions masquerading as time and place restrictions cannot stand, and they will be challenged.
Ahead, why activists say the rules favor Schooner Creek Farm, whose owners have ties to a white supremacist organization. In part 2 of our series on Indiana coal, how communities whose livelihoods rely on coal are preparing for the move away from coal.
We didn't exactly invest in ourselves. We put all of our eggs in one basket, or pun intended, all of our coal in one bucket.
And a legal expert joins us to explain what Second Amendment sanctuaries mean and how they're enforced. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, new rules for the Bloomington Farmers Market prohibit the interruption of commerce and protesting outside of designated free speech areas. Activists who protested at this summer's market argue the new rules limit their rights in favor of a vendor who has ties to a white supremacist group. They try to prevent the rules from even coming up for a vote at this week's Parks Board meeting. But after hours of interruptions, yelling, and mockery, the board ultimately voted 2-1 to adopt the rules. My colleague Mitch Leakin has been covering the story and has this report.
And I would also like to thank my second grade teacher.
The proposed rule change was the last of 16 items on Tuesday's agenda. So activists from the Purple Shirt Brigade and No Space for Hate attempted to prevent the Parks Board from getting to the rules by commenting on every single agenda item beforehand.
She filled me with promise. The promise it takes to stand up in front of an audience and say almost nothing, and fill 2 minutes doing it.
Most of the comments had little to do with the agenda items at all.
So I'm going to continue speaking for 25, 4, 3, 2. Well, not 1 second, 20.
After about an hour, Board President Kathleen Mills stopped the meeting.
We certainly welcome any comments about the farmers market rules of behavior related issues. That is on the agenda. We are not saying that people cannot comment on that.
Mills and the board then moved to reorder the agenda and discuss the rules after conferring with city legal staff. Among other things, the rules prohibit the interruption of commerce and protesting outside of designated free speech areas, Information Alley and Plaza 1A. Those found doing so could be arrested.
This set of rules intentionally to respond to our speech, these content-based restrictions masquerading as time and place restrictions cannot stand, and they will be challenged.
Otherwise, you are going to be subject to being arrested. I'm not willing to. Okay, thank you.
IU history professor Kara Cadu was arrested for protesting at the market this summer and has filed a tort claim against the city for wrongful arrest and defamation of character. Other Purple Shirt Brigade members say they're still deciding on taking legal action. Activists also complain the rules provide Schooner Creek with the base to recruit and spread its identitarian ideology.
You don't respect rules. You want us to respect rules, but when it comes down to the responsibility that you as government officials have, the power you hold, what do? Rules go out the window. You don't care.
Israel Herrera was the lone dissenting vote. He went into the meeting expecting to vote for the updated rules, but public comment moved him to vote against them.
What I was hearing is people coming from different parts of the nation coming here and trying to find a place where they can network and engage more people.
When asked if they'll continue to protest, No Space for Hate and Purple Shirt Brigade activists say they plan to be at the market this summer. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mitch Legan.
Activists also question the Parks Board's ability to regulate the removal of protesters from the market, but city legal staff says it is a statutory body and can make policy. Well, Indiana relies on coal for 75% of its power. Together, coal mines and coal-burning power plants have a $750 million impact on the economy, but Indiana is working to modernize its energy sector. And as Brock Turner reports in our two-part series on coal, that transition could displace workers and strain local communities.
Passed away and she was in.
Tim Abrams remembers when Hoosier Energy's Merom generating station in Sullivan County first opened. As a collector, he has relics of those early days in a cabinet at his home near Indiana's border with Illinois, not far from the Wabash River.
They called them flickers, but this one here is $1, and that's 50 cents. And what you did was you had to buy from their company store.
Abrams works at the Merom plant, but he's not only worried about his personal future. He's the president of the Sullivan County Council and knows that the Merom plant is one of the biggest drivers of the local economy.
When we lose Hoosier Energy, we're going to lose a lot of tax base, and that's going to affect the county. So those things there, I'll have to be looking at all that too.
Abrams hopes to convince Hoosier Energy to keep the plant opened. He cites millions of dollars the company recently invested in the facility's infrastructure, along with concerns over what officials will do if the demand for power increases. Currently, natural gas prices are at historic lows, and it burns cleaner than coal. Renewable prices also continue to drop, but they're not as reliable, and storing that energy can be difficult.
I can believe that this country needs to go to a clean environment. I can believe that. But if you want to bring the industrial machine back to this country, you're going to need coal-fired plants.
Abrams and others closely associated with the industry say they understand the need for cleaner energy generation. But many, like Kevin Hills, the mining program director at Vincennes University, say it will take time to develop more efficient and cleaner energy sources.
The alternative energy has always got a place. But yeah, I think there's a misconception about what a coal miner really is now compared to what he was 50, 75 years ago.
Vincennes recently invested $2 million in a mining training center. Today, miners from across the state and the region are completing certification classes.
That's a little bit too late because that ground's given if it shifts, right? I should back up.
In addition to the miners themselves, communities and the people in them rely on coal for their well-being.
You take a chunk of that away, you're going to have people that are going to be hurting because they put everything into it they have with that job. I mean, they got kids in college, they got house payments, car payments, things like that. So you're going to have to start all over again. And when you're in your 40s and your 50s, it's pretty tough. Not everybody can code.
And Abrams agrees.
The small communities is being left behind. If you go through these little towns, the brick and mortar buildings, a lot of them is empty, and they tell you that everything's better, and maybe they are.
That's something local governments are saddled with. Clint Lamb is the mayor of Sullivan, a town of less than 4,500 people just north of the Merom plant.
The reality is this. Hoosier Energy went online in 1982. And we were told in 1982 that it was going to be a 30-year plant. We kind of had a heads up.
Republican legislators have abandoned free market tendencies and tried to slow these closures by forcing energy companies to keep coal in their portfolios longer. That's something a lot of coal executives support, but economists and energy companies say it would lead to higher prices for consumers.
You're not just getting rid of the coal people, you're getting rid of the lady who works in the dentist's office, the lady who sells the tennis shoes. You're killing the communities.
While our hearts go out to the coal miners that are affected and the folks at Hoosier Energy, the reality is this isn't as much of a political issue as it is an economic issue. It's the entire world, right? It's alternative energy sources for one, But automation plays a role here as well.
Lamb hopes to take a different approach to economic development by investing in infrastructure projects and physical improvements to his town. Projects like accessible sidewalks, a civic center, and apartments on the town square are bringing more people to Sullivan. Some of those investments relied on tax money Cole provided, but Lamb says his focus remains on what is in his control.
I would say a lot of mayors in small towns in Indiana, they would rather try and get that Honda plant, or you name, insert manufacturer here. So,
and the rest of the other 3,000 counties in America. I hope in the year 2050, they're saying, wow, they were dealt a bad hand. It was unfortunate. Those coal miners lost their jobs. Hoosier Energy had to shut it down. But you know what? That was the group that took the bull by the horns, and they invested in our community. And we're proud of that. I don't want to wait another 30 years and just hope something good happens. You've got to make it happen, and you've got to invest in yourself.
Meanwhile, Abrams is hoping something changes before the plant closes for good at the end of 2023. But if it comes to that, he has no plans to leave. He's spent his entire life and raised a family here.
I'm optimistic, I guess. I'm just going to keep working. I hope for the best, but I'm not going to go anywhere. This is my home.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
When Merom closes in 3 years, the 7,000-acre site will most likely be reused. Hoosier Energy has said it plans to work with state and local economic development officials to market portions of the Merom property for industrial development. Officials say they're also considering renewable energy generation or even perhaps the sale of the plant. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Some Bloomington deer that were tagged as part of a study are dying because collars designed to track their movements are strangling them. And a growing number of communities are working to become Second Amendment sanctuary cities. Ahead, what protections the ordinances provide and why supporters say they're necessary. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU-WFYI News Team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU-WFYI News Team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing.
For insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the
Senate. You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. A DNR-funded study that was supposed to track urban deer roaming around Bloomington is drawing attention for other reasons. Researchers put collars on 85 deer and have been tracking their movements and gathering data. The study wrapped up in 2017, but as Adam Pinsker reports, researchers are worried about the deer that were involved.
Deer was laying back behind these small trees in that clearing.
Eric Sandweiss is motioning to an area in his backyard on Bloomington's southeast side. Last year, he was looking out the window of his kitchen when he noticed a deer wearing a collar that looked like it was struggling.
What was more striking was just above the collar, a big open wound in its throat that looked like perhaps the result of him trying to maybe rub up against a tree.
The deer died in Sandweiss's yard. A wildlife conservation officer told Sandweiss the collar caused the deer's death.
They had been aware that the deer was in distress, but had been unable to find it.
Between April of 2015 and July of 2016, researchers from Ball State University placed collars around the necks of deer in and around the Bloomington area. The collars have GPS navigation and radio tracking systems. Scientists set out to determine mortality rates and causes of death for urban and rural deer. Assistant Director of DNR's Office of Research, Dr. Joe Caudle, says the collars were supposed to expand as the buck's necks expanded.
What we think may have happened was just over time that material has degraded to where, at least on some of them, it doesn't seem like it's expanding or expanding enough.
Researchers were confident that wouldn't happen. Ball State wouldn't talk to us for this story, but in a Q&A on the Deer Study website, researchers addressed what would happen to the deer wearing the collars as they grew. The website says as the deer grows, the cotton thread begins to disintegrate and releases the folds one at a time, allowing the collar to expand as the fawn grows. The collars have enough stretch and folded material to accommodate the neck of a fully grown deer, but as the deer aged and grew bigger, the collars slowly strangled them. Officials wouldn't tell us the name of the company that manufactured the collars, but Caudle says the manufacturer of the collars said it had some problems with the materials they were using, but the other issue is the deer may have lived longer than the manufacturer anticipated.
The main cause for mortality of deer in urban areas tends to be deer vehicle collisions, and so they don't have to deal with predators or as many hunters.
Department of Natural Resources officials estimate there are as many as 4 deer roaming the Bloomington area that are still wearing these collars. Caudle says the cause of death of the deer Sandweiss found can't be linked to those collars. The death of a second deer is still under investigation.
One recently also died, but it didn't actually have the collar on it when we found it. So we don't know if that was due to the collar or if it was something else.
Director of Bloomington's Animal Control, Virgil Souter, says his agency is monitoring the remaining collared deer. But Souter says since Animal Control doesn't carry any tranquilizers, they won't be able to capture any of them. Instead, they'll alert DNR when the collared deer appear to be in poor health. But even then, Caudle says there is no guarantee wildlife officers will act.
It can be more dangerous to try to capture the deer to remove the collars because you have to use drugs, you have to chemically immobilize them. A lot of times there can be complications with that.
Sandweiss says his neighborhood off South Ballantyne Road is a big area for urban deer, and after his last run-in, he's not taking any chances.
Put up a high fence around our particular yard because we have a small dog that runs back here and we want to protect him.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Nearly a dozen states and several hundred municipalities have created so-called Second Amendment sanctuaries. The movement began last fall when Democrats were elected to majorities in both chambers of the Virginia legislature. In response, gun ownership advocates across the country began seeking resolutions declaring counties Second Amendment sanctuaries. The sanctuary resolutions say that law enforcement won't enforce federal or state gun regulations that they feel violate the Second Amendment. At least 8 Indiana counties have adopted sanctuary resolutions, and several more are considering them. Now, over the weekend in Lawrence County, hundreds of people rallied for Second Amendment rights. Lawrence County Sheriff Mike Brenham attended to show his support for the Second Amendment while also reiterating that it's his responsibility to enforce the law.
Strongly support the Second Amendment. My oath, the first part of my oath was I'll support and defend the Constitution of the United States. The second part is the Constitution of Indiana. But then there's a third component of it that people tend to forget is that I have to uphold the law.
Regulations that are commonly targeted are universal background checks, red flag laws, and assault-style weapons bans. Jody Madeira joins us now to explain the legality of the Second Amendment sanctuary ordinances. Thanks so much for being here. You know, we've heard this term in terms of sanctuary cities. That was in regards to immigration policy where their local officials wouldn't necessarily give all of their resources to help federal immigration policy. But now we're hearing this for the Second Amendment sanctuary. Are these largely symbolic?
I believe so, and unlike that, more immigrant sanctuary city context, what's going on here is that they're actually asking officials not to enforce laws rather than just not to commit, local law enforcement to supporting federal law.
So how does that work? I've talked with Columbus Mayor Jim Linnep about this, and he talked to his cohorts there in Bartholomew County, and he said, you can't pick and choose which laws to enforce. So that was a county that is not going along with this. So how does this work? Does it work?
It doesn't work, and actually, ironically, it works because in Indiana we have a law that many other states do, which is a preemption law, and that preemption law prevents local governments from regulating firearms or ammunition, and so it would theoretically prevent anything like a Second Amendment sanctuary resolution. But you also have a principle that's well established in law that says federal and state law govern, and local governments only have the powers that states allocate to them. So these resolutions, are in contravention and really can't be enforced.
So this, ordinance is really kind of new. Is there any precedent in the past that you can kind of relate this to understand what can happen or where this could go?
Well, I think, for example, what can happen is in two senses. If a law enforcement officer refuses to enforce, for example, a red flag law or a background check, they can be held liable if their failure to enforce the law creates a dangerous situation that causes someone harm. On a court level, we elect sheriffs to police the law, not to determine what they are. That's really the court's responsibility. Right. And so I do think that courts will find them unconstitutional.
All right, thank you very much. Now for the latest on this week's top stories. Vice President Mike Pence's handling of Indiana's 2015 HIV outbreak is getting a fresh look. This comes after President Donald Trump tasked him with overseeing the U.S. response to the new coronavirus threat. 200 people eventually tested positive for HIV in Scott County, and Pence, who was governor at the time, delayed allowing a program to provide clean needles to IV drug users. The HIV Foundation says the outbreak would have been, quote, entirely preventable if Pence had acted earlier. Pence was worried that needle exchange programs enabled illegal drug abuse. The 9 Indiana counties that have syringe exchange programs might be able to keep them through at least 2022. The programs are set to expire in state law July 1st, 2021. A bill earlier this year would have extended them indefinitely, but the Senate killed that measure. Now lawmakers are pushing for a 1-year extension. Clark County's health director says his county's program cut overdose deaths and emergency room visits in half.
I'd love to stand up here someday and tell you that these programs aren't needed anymore. Unfortunately, today is not that day, and we're not even close.
The 1-year extension now goes to the full Senate. Indiana's state health commissioner says now is the time to prepare for a potential coronavirus outbreak, not the time to panic.
We are very well supported for this, and we are not feeling that we are lacking any funds that we need to be able to address this issue.
Bach says steps outlined for the flu pandemic are being repurposed for the coronavirus. She says there are no confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Indiana. 26 Hoosiers are currently being monitored in the state due to recent travel or contact with someone who may have traveled to an affected area. A bill would have required annual training for teachers who carry guns inside Indiana schools is dead. Opponents argue the proposal infringed on gun rights. Teachers can be armed with permission of their school districts, but the state doesn't have any training requirements. The bill would have required a 40-hour training program. A similar training bill also failed last year. A mix-up and miscommunication is being blamed for a $12,000 water bill the town of Nashville says it's owed by the Brown County Music Center. But the center says it shouldn't have to pay for the extra work. Adam Pinsker reports.
The Brown County Music Center opened last August to much fanfare, but lost in the shuffle was an almost $12,700 water bill. Center officials are challenging the fees associated with hooking the feeder up to the municipal water system.
We're not paying the bill because we feel we suffered major damages because of how you told us incorrect information as to where these lines were.
Some members of the Music Center's board say it's the town's fault. Workers couldn't pinpoint the exact location of the water line.
They should have brought it to us, to our attention ASAP. I mean, we're talking about an installation, a bill that was sent out in August, an installation that was done in July.
Both sides will meet in executive sessions to settle the bill, but a vote will need to be taken in public over how it will be paid. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
And climate change is expected to threaten Indiana's water supply. But as Rebecca Thiel reports, Indiana University's Environmental Resilience Institute has developed a map to help cities prepare for less clean water in the future.
The mapping tool lets people see how much water cities in the Wabash River Basin are projected to lose or gain in the next 30 or 60 years. IU professor of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences Chen Zhu is heading up the project. He says even though climate change will lead to more rain in the winter and spring, that doesn't mean we'll have more drinking water in Indiana.
Our model shows that we actually have less water available in the streams and in the soil. And that's because the temperature is higher and we will see more evaporation.
That could be a big problem for Indiana farmers and rural Hoosiers who live near them. Zhu says the models show there will be less water for crops, but also more extreme rain events, creating more runoff that pollutes Indiana rivers and streams. Zhu says the tool could be used in a number of ways. It could help cities prepare for droughts or flooding. It could also help utilities decide whether or not to build power plants in an area, some of which need a lot of water to cool.
Provide some basis for discussion, for planning.
Zhu says IU is fortunate to have the resources to put all of the water projections for the Wabash River Basin together in one place. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
That's the end of this program, but our work continues online at WTIU-news.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.